started with showing you how to use that and the importance of a database. So there's an old saying that is, what is the best database? And that's the one that you use. And so the joke is that as long as you're using one, that's the best one. The problem is that a lot of what I've found in my history is a lot of top producers don't have databases that are quite functional for them to grow their relationships. And we know that relationships grow into prosperous relationships in our business. And so if you're using one, continue to use it. I'm not suggesting that you change, but I am suggesting that you use one. So as long as you commit to using it, we will have some homework later today, and as long as you commit to using one, you're on the right track. So let's see here. Sorry, trying to get my screen to advance. There are the top 7 reasons to have a CRM. And a CRM, again, is just a client relationship manager. And the top 7 reasons are: 1, to help you gain an understanding of your customer. It understands their sales habits, understands their relationships, and how you can use those to your advantage. A CRM, or a database, is not just a system, it's an actual philosophy on how to build relationships. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Also, it's a place to protect your vital client or customer data. It's also a place that you can access your database whether you're in the office and on the road. We know that the majority of your time is spent out of the office. It could be on the road, it could be at your home office, it could be at your virtual office, or wherever it is, and you want to make sure that you're able to access your database. It also allows you to create action plans and accountability to contact your clients at their important milestones, stuff that would be very important for them. It helps you identify additional leads. For example, it lets you reach out to your clients more frequently to understand what's going on in their life and try and identify additional leads that you can meet and work with in their sphere of influence. And of course, the top 7th reason to have a CRM is that you want to have something that's customizable for your business needs and growth, because it's all about growth. So let's dig into those 7 reasons a little bit deeper. And the first one is helps you to gain a complete understanding of your customer. Once your client information is gathered, it can be used to forecast future purchases and to stay top of mind. One of the things that I always encourage my partners to do is, advanced there. One of the things that I encourage my customers to do is to put in as much information as you can to track about your clients. You want a full understanding of them. And we'll talk about that a little bit in the future too, but the biggest thing is that you want to stay top of mind. So when their brother, cousin, church friend, school friend, their relative, their daughter, their son, their uncle, their aunt, when somebody else says, hey, I'm going to sell my house or I'm going to purchase my house, you stay top of mind and you will be the first name off of their tongue when they have that conversation. And there's some tricks to do that, and we'll talk about that again in a little bit. Also, a CRM or a database is not just a system, it's a philosophy. And the philosophy is that it's a strategy that centers around building better relationships. We want to build relationships in our business. That's what our business is about. People buy from who they know, like, and trust, and that is the foundation for every relationship. And that's why a CRM is a system, but more importantly, it is a philosophy that we need to follow in our business. The third top reason is to protect your customers' data. I used to work for a top producing agent. She was on the multi-million-dollar club and all of that. She sold houses and she was brilliant in her craft. But what drove me crazy was she would hand me these little pieces of paper that she'd rip off in her car when she would take notes, or it'd be little Post-its or different things. And juggling all that data between spreadsheets and work and documents, file folders, notepads, agreements, small pieces of paper, etc., you risk losing critical data, and having one location or one repository for all of this information just makes sense. You will then maintain the ability to access the data and to connect with your client on a much deeper level. So keep all that information in one place. Also, as we talked about, we know that your life is on the road. We know that your life is out with clients. Your client interaction takes precedence over everything else. So the days of being chained to your desk are, well, I spelled that wrong, so I apologize, but those are a thing of the past. You want to be able to access your CRM or your database through mobile applications, the cloud, etc. Wherever your life goes, you want to be able to access your client's data. You also want to have action plans and accountability. If you work in a collaborative environment, which is one of the environments that we're going to show you in a little bit, it does help everyone know what their responsibilities are and how to effectively work. One of the things that you can do is set up action plans for call dates, or to make sure that if you do have an assistant, some of you may already have an assistant, that they know what birthday cards to send at the beginning of that month, or what milestone anniversary cards to send at the beginning of that month. It allows everybody to know what their role is and to efficiently work, so there's not a lot of duplicity in that. Plus, it assures that you're getting it done. And that's a huge part of making sure that you are working efficiently and effectively for your clients. It also helps you identify additional leads. Keeping all the data in one place for when you do need to review historical data, or sending an email campaign, keep in touch with past clients, asking for referrals. Again, it comes back to staying organized, keeping the information at the top of your fingertips, so that way you can connect with your clients on a deeper level. Again, don't get confused. All a CRM is, or all a database is a relationship manager to help you manage these key relationships, or in the case of a real estate agent, your money-making relationships. And then the top 7th reason is to customize it to your business needs. Keep track of all the important things to your business: agent information, who was the agent on the side of the transaction, your client data, their phone numbers, emails, their relationships. How do you contact them? What are their important milestones? When did they purchase their house? Did they have that baby yet? What is their dog's names? All those little things really help you to dig this relationship deep, and will allow you to maintain and grow that for future purchases and transactions, which we'll see how that quickly adds up very shortly. And it sounds silly, but the more information you can track and keep on your clients, the more successful you will be at building a successful business. So use your database, build relationships. It's all about the relationships. People buy from who they know, like, and trust, and we also need to stay top of mind with clients. You know, we think that buying a house is a big deal, and it truly is. It's one of the biggest investments that people make. But as we'll see later on, and I'll say this several times throughout this webinar and session, is that people only buy from the same agent approximately 17% of the time. And what that means is that if you're not staying top of mind, if you're not in front of them by sending them cards for anniversaries or the anniversary of their new home or their birthday, inviting them to client parties, etc., if you're not staying top of mind, chances are they aren't going to remember you when the next person they know needs to buy a home. And that's all about building a prosperous relationship, so that way it can be lifelong and you're not just selling a home. So now let's talk about the value of a client and how this actually translates into hard dollars. I think that's a good example for us to see. Brian helped me change this to be the value of the transaction income from your area. Brian, can you mute your phone for me, please?
Yes, sorry.
Hey. No, that's just fine. So let's talk about that first transaction that we have with the client. So we have our first transaction, and let's just say it's approximately a $6,500 transaction, meaning that you get commissions of $6,500. And so when you are looking at that, that's a pretty good payday. In my book, that's a pretty good payday. You've worked hard for it, but that's a pretty good payday. But that's only the first transaction. And we've talked about using a database to build a lifelong relationship with your client. So what could that translate to? Well, we also know that a lot of clients move within 5 to 7 years. Statistically, they move within 5 to 7 years. And if that's the case, what happens if they don't remember us? Well, we automatically lose that sale. So our payday is good, but it's not as great as it can be. So that client moves in 5 to 7 years. They remember us. We've stayed top of mind. We've built that deep, lasting relationship. Well, now they're selling the house that we originally sold them. They're buying another house, just say on average at $6,500 for each of those. Now that little old relationship is almost $20,000. Times that by them moving another time, because again, we're building a lifelong relationship. And now it's even more than that. It could multiply 20,000, 30,000, 40,000 and more depending on the who, what, when, where, why, who's moving, where are they moving to, are they selling, are they buying, can you get both of the transactions. So over the life of a client and their purchasing power, that adds up very, very quickly. Now, let's look at the value of a client. That client is now worth over $25,000. You got 5 transactions at $6,500. Well, they know people, right? Everybody in their sphere of influence is a now new potential relationship for you. So now you have cemented that relationship. You're staying top of mind. You've built your database. You're sending them anniversary cards. You're sending them birthday cards. You're checking in on them. You're sending a card when you hear that their mom is sick or their dog had surgery or whatever it is. And now that is a lifelong partner in your business. That client is now worth $25,000 plus. They make a referral. You put the same principle in effect with that client. That's another referral. There's another referral. So the value or lifetime value of that one little old original client could be over $75,000. Now, I don't know about you, but that's a good payday. And I know that it is a lot easier to maintain the relationships that you have than to go out and get new relationships. Going back to this mega agent that I used to work for, I would say we figured it out one time, 85%. Now think about that. 85% of her business was sphere of influence, past clients, relationships. She totally skewed that 17% of the people use the same agent. She skewed that. And for that, she created a very successful business. And she was doing that on little scraps of paper and all this other stressful stuff to an organized person like me. So if we could have harnessed all of that for her, think of what else her payday could have been. Think of the additional relationships she could have created. That, to me, is the power of a database. Now we're going to actually dig a little deeper into the database. Now we know what numbers they can translate into. Now let's look at an actual database. Okay? So when we look at building a database, CRM, whatever you want to call it, again, there's lots of different programs out there. You may have heard of Reality Juggler. There's lots of them. There's Commissions Inc. as far as a lead database, but you can use it as a CRM. There's lots of them that we use on the mortgage side as well. But basically, you just need a repository to contain the information. So it must contain transactional data. Celebrate with these people. If any of you are married, as I am, you know when that anniversary comes around, it's nice to have it recognized. That's a milestone. Just like buying a house. When somebody purchases a home, it's nice to have that milestone, that investment recognized. So you want to contain some of the transactional data so that way you can refer back to it to build that relationship. It must be accessible from multiple mediums, whatever you use. Do you use a desktop, laptop, tablet, smartphone? What type of medium do you use? Most software, I will say nowadays, is accessible by multiple mediums, but not all. The one that I'm going to show you is. I use it on my tablet. I use it on my portable little laptop that I have. I use it on my Powerhouse. I use it on my phone. That's why I chose that one, because I can use it no matter where I am. And so for me, that just makes sense. It must be able to allow multiple users. And I can't stress this one enough. The reason why is because right now it may just be you and your business. You may be the only one organizing your business. But remember, my history is actually being a virtual assistant for real estate agents and for mortgage originators. And so if you didn't have a program that allowed for multiple users, it couldn't be collaborative and I couldn't come in and help you. I'm not saying that that's the one solution for you, but that's a solution. Because through all of this, through your relationship with Kalamazoo Mortgage, through your relationship with your database and the people contained in it that we're helping you to organize, you will grow your business. And if that's what you want to do, you need to project for growth by allowing multiple users to get in there. You need to spend your time on the money-making tasks. For example, is it worth your time and have to not be able to go out on appointments with clients when you could actually have an assistant mail birthday cards, anniversary cards, or whatever? There's a lot of technology online that we can talk about at a later date that would allow somebody else to do that, so you don't have to get so granular in your business. You don't have to get into the minutia of your business. You can be out there doing the high dollar money making activities. And you can have an assistant do this. That's why it's always good to allow for multiple users for that growth in the future. And finally, it's got to be easy to use. It not only has to be easy to use, you need to commit to using it. And I know that sounds silly, but so many times we get excited about something that will help us in our business, and we use it for a month or 2 months, and then all of a sudden, something happens and it dies off and we don't use it, and then it's just another tool that sits on the shelf. Although it's virtual, it sits on the shelf and gets dusty. It needs to be easy to use, because if it isn't, let's face it, you probably won't use it. Again, I'm going to show you in just a minute. We're going to switch my screen, and I'm going to show you one of the easiest, most rudimentary databases that I've used very successfully to help a lot of people grow their business. So we'll look at that in just a minute. But again, it's got to be easy to use. So what do you put in your database? You have one or you don't have one? Let's take a poll. Can anybody tell me, or can you tell me, do you have a database? Do you currently use a database, or do you not? Okay, it looks like there are a couple people that are using it. Okay. Perfect. Okay. It looks like there's quite a few people using it through Microsoft Office. It looks like we've got some people using one. So good. Awesome. Okay. So, great. Okay, so it looks like some of this might be just a refresher for some of you, and others this might be actually new to you. So we can, next week, just so you know, we're going to dig deeper into databases, and we're actually going to look at several of them and find out from you what's working and what isn't, and how we can tweak that to make sure that you're getting the most out of your database. So perfect. So the basics are what to put in your database. Of course, you're going to put your client data, right? You're going to put their name, phone number, email, property address, client type. Are they a buyer? Are they a seller? You know, are they a relationship client? Meaning, did you get them from another relationship? Because don't underestimate the power of a thank you. If Susie sends you Brian, make sure that Susie gets a thank you, that Brian is now working with you. People love that, and we certainly don't do that enough. What else to put in there? Appointments. Make sure that you may use Outlook, or you may use a calendar program on your smartphone for that, but keep track of it here, and I'm going to show you a real easy way to do that. Additional important notes. Something that might be very important to you might not be as important to me. So again, this is all about you. This has nothing to do with me. These are just some of the items that I found that are very, very effective. And basically, it's kind of the catch-all, but it's anything that you need to remember. Because I have found, and I don't know about you guys who are on the call, but I have found that I think my memory is much better than it actually is. So there are things that I think I remember that like it was yesterday, and you know what? I don't. And so for me, it's easier to put it in a place where I know I can always go back and get it. So that is what you should use in your database. Now, obviously, there's a lot more that you can add to your database. Lots of things that will help you set apart. Kids, dogs, parents, you know, all those stuff, favorite foods, those types of things, how they take their coffee. I mean, little things like that that really show you're listening and that you can easily reference back later. Favorite colors is a huge one. So, you know, in that way, if you see a little note card with their favorite color on it, you can send it to them. It's all about building the relationship. So again, whatever you put into your database is anything that you feel you want to remember. And we're going to look at how to organize that next. I told you guys that I was going to show you a free one. One of my favorite databases or CRMs that I use, very basic, it's Google Spreadsheets. Is everybody using Google, or is the majority of the people using Google out there or something? Oh, great one, Cheryl. Cheryl put allergies. Cheryl, that's a great one to put in there. I love that. So if you're using Google, some of this again might be repetitive or stuff that you already know. I'm actually going to show you an easy way to do the Google Spreadsheet database. Again, why do I like it? It's easy, it's free, it's online, it's collaborative. So that pretty much hits almost all my top 5 criteria. And so that way I know for me it's a great way to or it's a great program to use. The other thing is that Google Spreadsheets, if you haven't used it, it works a lot like Excel, but it's always online, always up to date. I don't know if you guys have ever done this. Probably not. I'm probably the only one, but I've worked on a spreadsheet for a very, very long time, and then my computer crashes, or I forget to save it and I exit the program, or something silly happens, like, you know, my dog hits my screen or something, and all of a sudden all that hard work that I did is gone. And the nice thing about working online in the cloud, working on Google in this instance, is that it's always, always there. It saves automatically as soon as I type the information in. It's also shareable. I have a lot of databases that I build that I use, and I can share them with certain people so we can be collaborative within the database. We can chat. We can leave notes for each other, and it's just a great way for us to make sure we're all on the same page and there's not a lot of duplicity. This is just kind of a drill down of a database that I was working on for a group that I help. I put the date added, lead type. Again, we're going to go into Google right now. I'm going to show you exactly how to do this. But we've got the lead source, we've got the name, phone number, email, address, status, and then here I can just click on that share button and I could share it with any of you if I was going to support you or get it started for you, and then you could take over ownership of it and you can then take it to the next level. So let's actually, okay, now y'all, this is going to be new for me, so hold on one second here. I want to show, let's see here if I can show, let me see if I can't get out of this. I apologize again, this is not my best work here. Okay, so now I am actually going to go into Google. Can everybody still see my screen? I just want to make sure that everybody can still see that. You're actually seeing my Google screen right now? Perfect. Okay, so this is actually just my Google, and if you look at the little 9 dots here, this is where you can actually get into your Google Drive. So when you click on this, you can customize this little icon map, but you're going to want to click on that Google Drive. Now, once you're here, you're going to see that I've got a lot of files and different things that I work on. I keep everything in Google. I actually wound up having to upgrade it because I've got, I had way too much storage. If you can see down here on the bottom, my drive already, and I do use this all the time, but my drive is 13 gig. I probably could go in and get rid of it, but I don't delete anything. So you can see that my drive is quite significant. I had to upgrade. You can get by with the free account if you're just getting to start to use this. I've been using this for several years and I just had to upgrade, so just so you know. So now I'm going to actually go ahead and create a spreadsheet. So I'm going to click on this little arrow here and it's going to say create. Here I can create a document, I can create a presentation, I can create a spreadsheet, a form, drawing, map, a PDF, etc. Later on in these sessions, Brian has asked me to put together a bunch of sessions for you. And later on in these sessions, one of the things that we're going to talk about are forms and how we can incorporate Google Forms and tracking of that into our business. And that's kind of a cool way to do like post-closing surveys and different things if you're not already doing those. So that's one of the cool things we can do. But what I want to put together for you is a spreadsheet. So again, I'm going to go to create and I'm going to create a spreadsheet. And it basically sets it up. Remember that I said this is just like an Excel spreadsheet. That's all that it is. It's just online and in a different program. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in, once it populates, See how it's working here. This is that share button that I was telling you about. If I click on that, it does allow me to share this with any one of you. It does not have to be a Google user to share. However, if it's not a Google user, I think they have to create something or create a Gap account so that way they can go in and actually edit the link. If you just share the link, anybody with the link can get in. So if you want them to actually be a collaborative partner, you will want them to have a Google account, because that means they can get in under their Google account and it's a document that is shared with them under their account. That was kind of a long way to say that you can share it. So what you want to do is go up to the top and you can show where it's going to be. You can create a new folder, etc. But let's drill down to the basics. So the basic of this is you have column A, row 1. Let's just put in date added. Remember I said we want to keep this basic. And then we're going to put in name, we're going to put in phone, we're going to put in email, we're going to put in their address, property address or address, buyer type, and again, other stuff that you may want to put in there, important dates, anniversary, birthday, kids, animals. I think somebody said allergies. And then I always do a catch-all, which is important notes. Okay? So now once I have that added, that's basically my first row. You can make it look pretty with all of this good stuff, shading and lines and all of that. But really now, once you get, and you can add to this later on, okay? So if you think down the road, if you're 6 months down the road and say, hey, you know what, that would be another good thing to add to my database, all you have to do is, just like in Excel, you click, right click, and insert one to the left, and then you've got a new column. So you can say new column. Oops, new column. And then that way you can add that as you're going down. So what I would do is, I always usually, this is just a personal preference, is I leave a couple spaces in there. So now I'm going to go ahead and just populate some information. So I'm just going to put my information in there. And we're going to skip that new column for now. It's hard to type when you're on display. It's a lot easier when you're not. Okay, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, any street, any town, Michigan. And okay, so what type of buyer am I? So I am actually going to sell my house right now. I'm not buying another one, I'm just going to sell it because I need the cash, let's just say. So I'm a seller. The date that I added, you may want to put, now we've got a couple things here. We might want to put the actual sale date or closing date in there. So let's just say I closed my house last month. So I sold my home, closed my house last month, moved into an apartment for right now till I decide where I want to go. And then we've got anniversaries, so I'm going to put that in there. Let's see. It'd be nice if I could remember that. That's terrible. Okay, and we've got birthday, so let's go ahead and put in birthday. I've got 2 kids, and they are Peyton and Sam. and then I've got animals and allergies and important notes, etc. And then the other thing is I can say, you know, we can put another note in here. I always personally start my notes with the date. So that's how I do this. So 12/10, client, this is not true, by the way, I'm just putting this in here for effect. Client just went through divorce, renting for a year until able to determine best next step. So just say that that is what I need to remember about this client. So now I've got a lot of pertinent data in here, but what do I do with that data? Well, what I want to do is I want to remember this closing date, because I've already told you in a year I'm going to be looking for another house. So what I should be doing is the agent is, you know, come 6 months, check in with them, see how they're doing. Hey, I know you went through a tough time last year. What can I do for you? Anything that I can answer for you. What have you thought about doing? How comfortable are you in the apartment? How are the finances going? You know, check in with them and let them know that you appreciate them letting you sell your house and that you're looking forward to working with them again in the future. How are those kids doing? Now, on their anniversary, that's probably not something you want to send a card on, so you'll want to take that out. But how about a birthday card? Remember that you are thinking of them in September when it's their birthday. So again, you can get very deep with this simple database. So if you don't already have one, which a lot of you do, but if you don't already have them, some of what you should do is start to build this relationship. And I'll actually post out a template for Brian to send to you that you can start with and add to as you see fit. Any questions on what I've added so far on this?
Jennifer Allen has a question.
Sure. Okay. How do I find that,
She's
Brian?
unmuted. Jennifer?
Jennifer? Jennifer?
Hello?
Hi.
I'm here.
Hi. Sorry
Oh,
about
no,
that. Did
that's
you have
okay.
a
That's
question or a
when I was,
comment?
no, that's when I first got on. I couldn't hear anything,
Oh,
but I couldn't
okay.
figure it out.
Okay. Good.
Okay.
Well, hopefully we got a few kinks worked out. So
Yeah.
good. Okay. Anybody else have any questions about what I just kind of went over? I know it's very basic as far as the database, but like I said, I work with a lot of top-level real estate agents and mortgage loan officers, and this is what we use. It doesn't get much deeper than this as far as a fancy schmancy program. I don't think there's any other hands raised that I can see. Oh, great question. Can you merge into Word to print labels? You know, Jennifer, I have not done that on a global scale because I usually use a different, I don't usually send mail other than a couple pieces at a time. So I will check into that. I will write that down. I will check into that and I will get you an answer back on that. So mail merge for labels. Great question, and I promise I will get you an answer on that. Yeah, Bill, what's your question?
Can you have an automatic reminder in a year to call Julie just in case you forget?
Well, you can create yourself notes, and you could do that. I will find out how automatic it can be. I'm in our database all the time, so let me write that down.
What I do on mine, Julie, through Gmail is I set up a calendar reminder.
Yeah, I've
So
done
I
that.
set it up, and Bill, I can show you how to do this, is I set it up, when I go, I'll go straight from my spreadsheet to my calendar and put the note in there. And I also, not only do the calendar, but I also set up the SMS reminder so it sends me a text on what to do.
Yep.
And then one question I was thinking about, Julie, a lot of the folks when I met with them, there are a great deal that actually use Google, but there's also some other folks that use Comcast or AOL or these other sites. And one thing that I wanted to confirm with you, but they can sync like your Comcast.com with your Gmail account,
Right.
to where they can still send and receive their Comcast emails through a Gmail account and still have access to all these docs. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yep. I don't know what I don't know what the actual specifics are, but like I know if you go through Comcast, you can set that up. I know, for example, when I've used certain companies, it actually looks like a third-party email, like, for example, Julie@kzumortgage.com, but it's actually run through Google.
Correct. Yep. My I do the exact same thing. Like I run about 7 different email addresses through my Gmail account.
Yep, and I do that too. And so you wouldn't have to have, what Brian is saying is you wouldn't have to have like Julie Reisner at charter.net and Julie Reisner at Gmail. You could run your charter through Gmail and then have all the benefits of the additional programs.
And what that does is it helps folks that want to transfer or slowly migrate from one system into another. It really helps them make that so it's not an all or nothing switch. Because you've built a career using the AOL account. Well, now if you're going to migrate into Gmail, you can still sync the two together where you don't have to give up your old email address.
Oh, absolutely. And I would encourage you not to give that up. Because you have built the reputation, you have built that client base, that's how they know you. And if you haven't been keeping up with these clients, that may be the only way that they know how to get a hold of you. And if you were to just nix that and start using something else, you may lose that relationship and you wouldn't be able to get that back. So I would always discourage you from removing any form of communication, but enhance what you already have. Yeah, definitely.
Perfect.
Any other questions on this? I don't see any. So it sounds like I have a little bit of homework. And the only other thing that I would suggest, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to flip this back here. Let me try. Let me see here. Okay. So the only other thing that I would say is if you don't already have something, or if you do, take a look at it and figure out how you can best use it. You want to make sure that you are using whatever you use or whatever you have the best. And so if you don't have anything, get started with Google. If you do have something, analyze it and make sure that you're using it to its fullest. Meaning, do you have all these fields in it? What additional fields do you think would be helpful for you? And then I will also be looking at those couple of questions that were presented to me that I didn't know the answer to. I will also put together a very remedial database in Google spreadsheets that Brian can distribute. And then next week we're going to go even deeper, right, Brian? That's what we thought for next week. We'll go even deeper into relationship building and databasing and some additional statistics on why this is such an important topic for you in your business, no matter where you are in your business, whether you're just getting started or whether you've been in business for quite some time.
Yeah, the one thing that I want to do is standardize the template so when we all are giving feedback to each other and masterminding, because when we get into how to actually market to the database, I'd like everybody to be templated the same, at least have the core cells the exact same.
Yep.
Because when you start talking about doing the emails and email marketing campaigns and stuff like this, it'd be nice. It'll be for the convenience of the group. I think that would be a good tool.
Sure.
And then the other thing is when we get that template out, we'll probably get it out on, once we have it done, we'll shoot it. I'll put it on Yammer.
Yep.
I want to do we just got to remember to do a freeze frame across the top, so as they're adding these, you know what I mean, how the top fields never change.
Yes, but remember, they will have their own database.
Correct, yep.
Yep. So what we'll do is we will freeze certain cells, but then they can add to the right of it. Is that what you're saying?
Correct. Yep, that's exactly it. Yep.
Yes, you can, Rebecca, you can import from other databases into this one. Yeah, it's an import-export, yes. It's just using a CSV file, if you're familiar with that. And there's specific, the other thing, I should go back to, the other reason why I like Google is, you know, I'll be honest with you, several years ago, I was like anti-Google, and I don't even know why. It was just one of those things. I thought they were getting a little big for the britches. But the truth of the matter is they've put together a set of really good products that are free, and they've got some awesome help files. So there's really good help with this, and if you do have questions like that, Rebecca, and are really interested in finding out the steps, I can certainly send that to you as well, so you can find that out.
Yeah, there's nothing that you can't conquer on Google without YouTube. Like whenever, because I'm not the most technology savvy person in the world.
Right.
And it usually takes me less than 5 minutes to resolve any issues I have. I search it on YouTube, I pull up the video, and somebody's been nice enough to record their screen.
Right.
And I mean, you can knock it out usually relatively quick.
And when in doubt, then just ask my teenagers, and they'll be able to do it for you as well. No, I'm teasing. They use this in school all the time now for all of their projects and databasing and chemistry and all of this stuff. It's really a powerful tool that can be used across the board to help in business. So I'm excited to have you guys start using it. I did just, I know we had a little bit of a hiccup or two getting started. I did record this session. I started it a little bit late, but I did record it. So Brian, we're going to go ahead and publish that as well. So look for in the next day or two to get the base of the template for your database as well as the recording. You can watch this again. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to me, and I look forward to digging deeper with you guys in the next several weeks to take your business to the next level.
Great. Thank you, Julie.
Thanks, Brian. Y'all have a great day.
Yep. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.